Jeanette's prepared a short statement she's going to read to you today. We have not had a lot of time to review all the information, and so she's got a prepared statement. She's not going to be doing any Q&A today, but she will be back here tomorrow to answer any questions and give you the time that you need. So again, thank you so much for being here, and we'll go ahead and let her do her statement.
Thank you. The news conference held earlier today in Bend, Oregon, to release the report of the investigation regarding my husband's death was to be expected. No surprises. The purpose of that announcement was for the state and federal agencies to continue to lay the foundation for their legal case. However, they have brought forward selective evidence. As in all such situations, there is another side to the story. We will provide a more thorough analysis of a follow-up news conference tomorrow, and we'll be taking questions at that time. According to an AP wire from Portland, Oregon, officials investigating the death of Robert Lavoy Finicum are ready to release results of the fatal shooting during a January 26th traffic stop while trying to arrest the rancher and others involved in the takeover of an Oregon wildlife refuge. However, the FBI video shows this was not a typical traffic stop. It was an ambush involving a roadblock on a blind curve along a lonely stretch of highway, a dead man's blockade, a kill stop, which is illegal. The AP continues. The FBI said Finicum was shot after reaching for a gun. We reject that statement. The FBI's aerial video was of poor quality, edited, and provided no audio. Our family asserts that he was shot with both hands up, and he was not reaching for anything at the time of the first shot. He was walking with his hands in the air, a symbol of surrender. When he reached down to his left, he was reaching to the pain of having been shot. I can hardly believe that a team of qualified law enforcement officers could look at the facts of this case and say that no criminal laws were violated. How could they have reached this decision in the face of evidence that clearly shows intent to kill my husband? We have talked with an independent investigator who has stated that the video provides a setup assassination. Many people, including my lawyers, have tried to prepare me for this. Be strong. Accept this with peace. But I do not think anything could prepare me to accept what is so clearly a finding that challenges the Constitution my husband died defending. I know that under the Constitution, the men who shot my husband to death while he was surrendering are entitled to due process of law, but they are not entitled to walk free and not have to face the same legal process that is a barrier to you or to me. They shot my husband. They left him lying in a snowbank with no medical assistance, no charges, no arrangements, no preliminary hearing, no indictment, no trial by a jury. And should they just walk free? It's just not right. The consolation I have had from thousands of Americans that have seen and know the truth, and I believe that, as I do, that my husband was murdered intentionally and deliberately and with malice. My lawyer has assured me that we will seek justice in a different court under different circumstances, and I look forward to the day when these men do face a jury that is unbiased enough to return a fair verdict. After the funeral, rallies spontaneously began to organize in many states. The organizers counted possibly as many as 1,000 rallies took place throughout the country in every state but Rhode Island. It has been asked how this movement got such momentum so quickly. When Americans heard the details of this story and how these American patriots who have no criminal record and who have stood on the same interpretation of the U.S. Constitution as Justice Scalia have been treated, the actions of law enforcement and the FBI have shocked the conscience. Our Supreme Court has set as the standard guideline for practices of law enforcement that are unacceptable to our society as those that shock the conscience. A dead man's blockade with the intent to kill shocks the conscience. Shooting to kill with both hands up shocks the conscience. Violating the 8th Amendment, cruel and unusual punishment by placing Americans with no criminal record who are apparently guilty of defending the U.S. Constitution and the overreach of federal authorities into solitary confinement and then removing their constitutional right to bear arms are two examples of how elected and appointed officials in our court system, legislative body, and in the law enforcement are violating the rule of law. The Supreme Court has referred to solitary confinement as being violently insane. The court has recognized that solitary confinement tortures our human brain and diminishes our God-given strength to overcome obstacles. Solitary confinement is a form of torture that often drives the incarcerated mad. Last year, a Supreme Court justice wrote a concurring opinion that described the history of solitary confinement, saying the practice bears a peculiar mark of infamy in its ability to shatter the minds and spirits of their prisoners. Who are we? We are outraged that men and women who have no criminal records and who pose no threat during the protest in Oregon are being treated as mere animals. The American people are outraged at this inhumanity, this brutality, this barbarism by the courts and law enforcement. It has created a new American awakening from both the left and the right. It shocks our conscience, and that is why around 1,000 rallies spontaneously organized in support of my husband's assassination and these patriots who are being held as political prisoners. Again, my lawyer has assured me that we will seek justice in a different court under different circumstances. And we will be commenting on the FBI and the Duchamp County press release tomorrow after we review their findings. Thank you so very much for coming.
So what are the plans for tomorrow?